When Honda left the World Championship in 1968, the 500cc category was being dominated by four-stroke motorcycles. And when the Japanese factory returned in 1979, they came back to a premier class that had been taken over by a new generation of two-strokes. However, Honda stuck faithfully to their philosophy and built a new 500cc four-stroke. It was the most ambitious technological gamble in the history of the World Championship.
Now, the NR500 was a fascinating machine. It demonstrated so much about Honda's attitude. Now, old man Honda had a pathological hatred for two-strokes.
It was a massive project, technology-wise. I mean, they was doing something then that nobody else had even considered.
And the problem was they came racing with that motorcycle like we did with our motorcycle at Yamaha a couple of years, unprepared. I mean, not even close to being ready for the racetrack.
The Honda NR500 was finally debuted at the British Grand Prix in 1979 at Silverstone, ridden by Mick Grant and Takazumi Katayama.
Obviously, the lap times are still down, but yeah, at this stage, with it being the very first race, it's not really a thing that I would worry about.
Takazumi and I, we qualified last and next to last. It was a push start. So the chance of starting it was almost impossible. I missed the first time, and I had about 3 pushes to get the thing going.
He got it started, and it did a great big wheelie.
Okay, the red lights are only going
I went down in front of the pits on the back wheel in first, second, third gear. Unknown to me, the massive blow-by the piston, it was pushing oil onto the back tyre. So I arrived in the first corner and turned right, and down I went, and it caught on fire.
The opposite of the rise of the Phoenix.
The NR in England stood for not ready.
We have to begin somewhere, and this is just the first step in a long journey.
It was a fantastic effort, and I was really proud to be part of it. But it was 20 years too early.
The NR failed because they couldn't create a piston that could tolerate the acceleration stress at the RPM they had set as their goal.
But I guess they would have learned from that technology to work nowadays.
The engineers who were involved in the original design, but they said that it hadn't really carried over anything into the MotoGP bike, except the lessons they learned. Don't be too clever. Get something that works.
Honda seems to be ahead of that side. They really look to the future so much as far as different ways of making things happen.
I always appreciated that part about the NR500 instead of just looking at the race results.
It persuaded them to build a two-stroke, the NR500. They had to finally accept that their way wasn't the only way.
When Ron Haslam narrowly missed out on the points at the Belgian Grand Prix in 1982, it proved to be the best result for an NR500 in the World Championship. That same day, Freddie Spencer scored Honda's first 500cc win since 1967. The American riding the new lightweight two-stroke NS500.
So we show up at the first Grand Prix at Buenos Aires, and right away, the bike was better than it was in February. And we weren't too bad. And I think it shocked everyone. But when we got to Spa, ended up qualifying second, but got in the race, didn't get that great of a start, but just started moving up the pack, caught Kenny, and passed him. And then won the race, and it was just an amazing, amazing feeling to win it. That was July 4th, 1982.
The four-cylinder 500cc two-strokes were animals.
They were very, very critical on the throttle response.
There was no electronic sophistication. They were running on carburetors.
They were 180, 90 horsepower and weighed 115 kilos. So they were extremely light, extremely powerful, with a power band of about that wide.
They were unpredictable. They would high side you.
On a perfect day, it was unbelievable how things seemed to happen in slow motion. But at anything less than the bike being almost perfect, it was a fist fight in a closet every corner.
I used to be sitting in my motorhome hearing the bikes being warmed up, getting ready on a testing day, and I'd be going, shit, do I need to hop on that thing, Because you'd be, it was frightening sometimes, going, Jesus, this thing can kill us.
It was an amazing era, and no wonder they were hard riding, hard partying, hard living guys, because they were living life to the absolute limit. To witness people that brave and that skillful, it was pretty special.
This unforgiving new era began with two more Italian world champions. Marco Lucchinelli lifted the 500cc title in 1981, followed by Franco Uncini in 1982, both for Suzuki.
Il sogno di vincere un mondiale delle volte ti sembra irrealizzabile e quando lo ottieni è una cosa meravigliosa, meravigliosa. E veramente poi ti danno, è come se tu avessi una chiave per aprire tutte le porte, è bellissimo.
But once again, European dominance would come to an end as a new wild breed of 500cc machinery was tackled by a new wild breed of man, a golden generation of riders from the US and Australia.
This generation of Americans we're talking about, the Robertses, the Lawsons, and the Raineys and the Schwantz, was a stunning run of talent, just a golden era of men who could ride those nasty 500cc V4 two-strokes.
To be part of that, to me, was an incredible privilege to be a part of that American contingent who we came along and did, all of us in our in ways, kind of contribute and change Grand Prix racing and help make that transition.
The first head-to-head between them came in 1983, with the fresh young American known as Fast Freddie Spencer taking on his compatriot and three-time world champion, Kenny Roberts.
The characteristics of the Yamaha and the Honda were completely different, and mine and Kenny's riding style was different. So it made for great racing.
And Spencer, dirt tracking from the age of 3-4 years old. He wasn't like Kenny, it wasn't back end out all the time. Freddie used to push the front end all over the place. It was terrifying. And the Europeans had never seen anything like this. Completely foreign to what we were used to seeing or doing.
It was great. I mean, we shared the fast times, pole positions, and we shared wins. But he ended up by a point or two to win the championship.
And everything it took to win that championship, and it raised my performance to a level because of competing with him.
It was a great race, and it's just hard to believe. I have to say this is about the best we've ever had.
That first title won by Spencer in 1983 was also Honda's first in 500cc. At the age of 21, the American had become the youngest man ever to achieve the feat, taking the record from Mike Hailwood. Spencer went on to achieve the impossible in '85, becoming the only rider in history to win both 250 and 500cc titles in a season.
In the modern era, no one has done it. So it was a very impressive achievement.
winning the 250 and the 500 World Championship in the same season absolutely took everything out of him, physically and mentally.
And I never forget, I'm standing there and the national anthem, as soon as it ends, I hear the 250s crank up and they're heading out of the cold pit. I couldn't believe it, that it was that close. Now, I'm not going to have any time to go to the motorhome and drink any water or anything, not even change anything. And so I look at Eddie, and Eddie, all he says is, better you than me. I'll never forget that. It's like, oh no.
Freddie's star burnt very brightly and then fizzled out quite spectacularly. The whole year had been a strain, and subsequent events proved it. He was finished after that.